So welcome, welcome. I'm super excited to have you all here. This is the first time, and to be completely honest, I've been postponing this a lot. I was kind of nervous to do it, but this is the first time that I'm doing a webinar just to talk to you folks, ask and answer questions, show you a little bit about visual notes. I'm super passionate about it, as you can see. So, the more the merrier. We need to start doing things in a different way. This is going to be a small group, and the idea is to have, a little bit of an intimate conversation. So feel free to unmute yourself at any point and ask questions, use the chat. We'll do it as interactive as possible. It's just 1 hour, so I promise to be as good as I can, be mindful of your time, but I can stay a little bit longer if needed after answering questions. And, just to get started, I want to ask you to write in the chat what interests you about this webinar. I just want to read a little bit about why you joined tonight. From Laval, so for someone who's close to me, I know that we don't get a lot of webinars from here. So thank you, Benoit, for joining. Ability to create impactful messages, try something new to engage people, to tap into your artistic skills. I love that because you're awesome. Thank you. I need that energy. Interested in your work and always want to explore more around visual notes. Thank you so much. Curious. So I read a lot of curiosity, organizing thoughts, tapping into your creativity. You're in the right place. This is just 1 hour, so you won't be let me break it to you from the beginning. We won't be pros by the time we leave, but you do, however, will get enough basic skills to start practicing, and hopefully get into visual notes. So this is the first time I'm gonna try something a little bit vulnerable, and I'm gonna tell you why I got into visual notes. I'll tell you why after, but also for those of you who do not know me, to get to hear a little bit about me, what I invite you to do is, 10 minutes after starting, we're gonna get hands-on and start doing things. But even before that, if you want to try to doodle and imitate the things that I'm doing, I invite you to do that. We're not looking for perfection. This is the first thing that we have to put on the side and, constantly have a dialogue with our internal gremlin perfectionist, for those of us who are, part of the club. So, just try to enjoy and feel free and, enjoy this hour. That's why we're here for. So for those of you who do not know me, my name is Alina Gutierrez. I'm the founder of Visual Versa, and I've been taking visual notes for about 10 years, officially, but when I discovered that, I realized that I basically have been taking visual notes my whole life. So it's something that I kind of connected with. Because I'm sharing screen, I'm not able to see everyone, unfortunately. But as I said, at any point, feel free to unmute and ask me questions or use the chat. When I look down, it's not because I'm not paying attention to you, it's because I'm going to be drawing as I speak. So, oops, sorry, that didn't go as planned. Give me 1 second, I'll do it slowly, and, talking about perfectionism, will embrace my mistakes. So you already had a little bit of an insight of what. So let's get back to why I started doing visual notes. So my name is Alina Gutierrez. I come from a place called Colombia. It's Colombia, not Colombia, and I love saying that. It's in South America. So for those of you who can hear my thick accent, yes, my mother tongue is Spanish. And I think that's one of the reasons why I connected with visual notes. So about 13 years ago, I took a plane and, moved for what I thought was going just to be an exchange from an exchange program from Colombia. And let's do a heart because I do love my country. To, oops, that's way higher than Montreal. But I moved from Colombia to Montreal. And you can see there's two hearts. My heart is kind of divided. I love both places. But, being an immigrant and studying the second language was not an easy task. So when I started, long story short, after several years here, I decided I wanted to do a master's program. I found myself kind of, sinking in papers and a lot of words that I couldn't comprehend immediately. And trying to catch up, taking notes with profs when they were talking, and things were going way too fast for me. So without knowing that visual notes existed, what I did is I got a notebook like this, the one you can see here. And I started taking notes in my classes, like, you know, kind of mind maps. Every time I didn't know how to write something, I would just draw it or doodle or like, you know, scribble what the prof was saying. And, you know, someone came to me and said, oh, you do visual notes, like you do graphic visualization? And I was like, I do what? I didn't know about it. So I, you know, obviously came home, started looking into it and did all the research I could. And then, you know, from being like super overwhelmed about things and, you know, like this mental confusion that, you know, I was talking about. So from this mental confusion, I grabbed a pen, started doodling everything, and things just became easier. And, you know, ideas just started coming. My classmates started asking for my notes. And, you know, I went from like this, you know, international student that was not able to keep up with notes to being the person that people would ask for notes. So that was kind of exciting. And then after that, you know, I became this person that wanted to let everyone know about this amazing tool because it obviously impacted my life. Why am I telling you this long story? Because the reality of nowadays workforce is that you most likely are feeling a little bit like me or working with someone who feels a little bit like me. So using these tools will help people feel more included and understand better what we're talking about. And it's, you know, again, nothing perfect. We're not working on posters. We're doing something simple that will get people to understand better what we're talking about. When I say simple, I don't mean this type of drawings. These, as you can see, I prepared them ahead of time. But you could as well, you know, create the same kind of message or visual, you know, doing a little square here, a little rectangle, and then, you know, and we're gonna get into this, so don't worry. But with really simple shapes, you could kind of talk about the same message. I could stay here and talk for hours about why we should use visual notes. And I have a visual here and I'm just gonna go fast through it. But basically, after telling you my story, I hope that you have a strong reason for you or for someone else to try them. But if not, visual notes help you connect both sides of the brain. They're transferable, they save time, they help save misunderstandings. If you can see, this is kind of a banal example, but you know, if we're talking about an apple, someone might be thinking about the fruit, someone might be thinking about the brand. And when we're having conversations at work that are way more complex than this, just doing a simple doodle might help you realize that you were having a misunderstanding right there and have a conversation about it. And like this, there's tons of more reasons, but instead of telling you reasons, I'm gonna show you why you should use visual notes. So I'm gonna ask you, and you're not allowed to take screen pictures or anything. I'm gonna ask you to try your visual memory. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to memorize this secret language that I just made up. Where 0 is just a space. One, you represent it like this. 2 with a little square no top, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Now, after looking at that, I'm gonna ask you to write this number with our new secret code. Give it a try. Write it. So in our did someone get it like that? There's no shame on saying no, because I would have not gotten it before knowing the trick I'm about to show you. No? Okay. Thank you for your honesty, René. Half. Good enough. I'm pretty impressed. 3 out of 5. That's really good. Not a chance. I got 2 numbers. That's pretty impressive. Okay, you folks are amazing. Now, I'm going to show you this. And after looking at that, you don't even need 5 seconds. I'm going to ask you to try to write this number again. Who here thinks that it was way easier after seeing a visual reference to be able to write this number? Dawn, see, René, thank you, congrats. Wow, definitely. Amazing. So we need memory tricks like this for other things. I'm with you, Vivi. You're so brilliant. I agree. We're also brilliant when we use the tools that we need to use. So as I said, I could have spent an hour telling you why we should use visual notes. This is just a concrete example. When we have a visual reference of something we already know and we link it with a new concept, we're most likely to be able to remember after. So I just gave you another reason for you folks to take at least, 3 minutes a day to start practicing this new skill that you're gonna have after tonight. So enough being said, I'm gonna tell you what our agenda today looks like, and we already did part of it. Our first 10 minutes were, tech difficulty here. Our first 10 minutes were, who is this lady that's suddenly talking to us about visual notes and why should we use them? And this word, more or less 10 minutes. 5 minutes, we were talking about, and this is supposed to look like a camera lens, but in reality is your eye. So visual memory, and we did our exercise about visual memory. We're gonna take about 20 minutes, and like this agenda is flexible, but we're gonna take about 20 minutes where we're gonna talk about how to do simple icons, and simple icons, to express any ideas that we want. And hopefully this is gonna be a dialogue more than me doing a monologue here, because I think you already heard my voice long enough. After these 20 minutes, I'm pretty sure, because I've been doing this long enough, that you're gonna tell me, Alina, this looks amazing, but the same excuse we always use, excuse or reality, I have no time. So because you're gonna tell me I have no time, I'm gonna give you some tricks on how to start using this in your day-to-day. So it's not an extra task, but it's something that you can include in your agenda from now on to do things differently. And in the last 10 minutes, well, there's no webinar without surprises and some giveaways, and obviously an offer, because I want to challenge you to start doodling. So this doesn't stay here, but continues on, and you get to actually use it in your day-to-day. Are there any questions? Is this kind of aligned with the expectations you had for tonight? And just like that, I just gave you an example of a way that you can use visual notes in a really simple way. Even PowerPoint will give you the tools that you need, because you can use circles, lines, type, and icons that you can get there. And instead of like having a bullet point agenda, next time you have a meeting that is 1 hour, you do a clock, you divide your clock, and you tell people what you're going to be doing. And again, instead of like telling them everything from the beginning, just showing them the image complete, you just build it with them so people are engaged, instead of just like reading it in 2 seconds and then disconnecting. So as we're doing these exercises, I'm also showing you ways that you can use what we're working on tonight. And thank you so much for writing in the chat. It lets me know if you're like following and if we're going at the right pace. So thank you for that. Now, sorry, after telling you our agenda, my objectives, if I want you to leave with something tonight, is why should you use visual notes? What do you need to know? And basically, I gave you a huge hint here. All you need to know to get started is how to draw circles, squares and triangles. So if you know how to do that, you'll be able to do visual notes. And how can you use them? I'll also give you some concrete examples on how to use them. And we just did it with the agenda. Are we ready to get started? Yes? Awesome. So the first thing that we're gonna do next in our agenda was to talk about simple icons. I want you to think about your day-to-day and think about a word that comes a lot for you in the work you do. And just write it in the chat, please. Bring it on. I like that attitude. Thank you, Adil. Reading. Traffic. Systems. When you talk about systems, are you talking about tech or human systems? Inquiry, submitting, human. Okay, thank you, Ana Sofia. Forecasting, engineering. Great. You're gonna keep that word in mind. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna learn how to draw human figures. For those of you who have taken any workshop with me, you're a little bit ahead. So what I'm gonna ask you to do is while we do this first shape, to try to do bonhommes or people in different positions. Now, for those of you who are already thinking, I cannot draw, we're gonna take it one step at a time. Are you able to draw a rectangle? And I hope the answer is yes. Can you like nod or give me a thumbs up, please? Thank you. So we're gonna draw a rectangle here. Are you able to draw a circle? We're gonna leave a little bit of space and draw a circle on top. And now the rest, all we need is lines. So we're gonna do one line here, an open triangle or two lines here, an open triangles and another two lines there, and two straight lines here. And congrats, you just did your first person. So as I said, all we need is just simple shapes. We're not gonna take tons of time. I mean, obviously this one, we could turn it into a little bit more of a complex image, right? And then I would say maybe level 2 would be, you know, we add a little bit of a shape and then hair and maybe eyes. And this person here is holding a really nice purse. I'm just showing you that, you know, without making it too complicated, we could turn this into a more of like a complex drawing. But that's not necessary. We're communicating exactly the same message with this little stick figure. Oh, that's a great question, Benoit. So depending, he's asking if they should start from the corner of the body. Sorry, basically we're drawing the skeleton. So we're leaving space. If you want to turn this into more complex drawing, as I just show you, then basically you need space to create both legs. That would normally, yes, come from like both corners. But right now, because it's a stick figure, it's basically a skeleton, they go kind of like in the middle of our half. The way I divide it is, this is the body. In the bottom, I'm gonna do it with a different color. This bottom line here, we divide it in half, and then half of this half is where the first line goes, and half of the other half is where the second line goes for the legs. That being said, there's no wrong way to do things, and everyone will develop their style. This same figure shape, we could do it with squares, like some people do it with the squares, or even like not two straight, like not squares, but I don't even know how to call this. It's not a pentagon, but we could use it like this, and or we could do a little bit more of like a rounded shape. What it is really important though is that the arms start from the corner of whatever shape you decide to do. Because if you start the arms here, it's as if my arms would be coming off from here. So we wanna make sure that our arms are coming off from our corner there. How are we doing? Any other questions about these amazing people, characters that we're drawing right now? Now, by adding a little bit of detail to these characters, would you be able to do an icon that represents the words that you wrote in the text box? And then I'll just show you that just with simple shapes, we could also do an envelope. This line will leave it incomplete. And we're talking about communication or messages. We could do an old camera that we don't use anymore, but people still understand this icon. This like inverse water drop that would represent location. Light bulb that we can do in so many different ways to talk about inspiration or ideas. For those of you who were talking about research, maybe a magnifying glass. Would show that, or highlighting points. Someone mentioned reading, so books, or glasses. Now, how are we doing with the words that we have in the chat? Inquiry, asking questions, traffic. Were we talking about online traffic or road traffic, like a lot of cars? Benoit?
Montreal orange cones.
Oh, cones. This one is an easy to draw, and yes, we see them everywhere. Oops.
It's funny, I had said inquiry or asking questions, so I drew with the hand up, but my guy looks like he's doing jazz hands dancing.
Oh, dancing is, well, maybe he's having so much fun asking questions. But if we're talking about inquiry and asking questions, if you're open to receive those questions, there's an icon that I love because it's like for open-minded, or, we'll do. And as I say, I invite you to try to like do the drawing as I do it. So you do a circle here. No, that's more of an oval, and it's like kind of squish. And we're gonna do another oval here. Two little lines, half a circle, a little bit of a circle. How are we doing there? Another circle here.
Ears.
Sorry?
Those are the ears. I see it.
Aha.
Cute.
And then, question. And just like that, you already moved to level 2.
Cool.
Perfect. So I hear that, good. Quick question. Okay. Benoit, did I answer your question about the legs? Okay, good. And again, there's not right or wrong. You develop your style. If you think that your bonhommes look better with the legs in the corner, then feel free, go for it. Now, this is a little trick I want to show you just because I think it's fun. And it's also a good exercise if you want to start trying different positions for your figures, the stick figures. And let's do. And for those of you who have kids or nephews or any kids around you, this will be a fun activity to do with them. We're going to use these shapes to create our characters. And I mean, there's tons of different positions that we could think of, but and here we're going almost towards the end of the square bin one. So see, we might be able to just change things. And someone was drawing people dancing. So, maybe she gave me that idea. And we could do a little bit of an effect here where these would be, I'm just gonna do first and last, and we'll let you create your characters for the other 3. For those of you who do yoga, you'll know the pain. And this is me when I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? So with the same tips, with the same rectangle or kind of like an open triangle or a little bit of a rounded torso, we can do many different positions. And one that might come handy when we talk about, plans at work is this person that if we think about kind of like an S shape, but we do it like this, it's almost, oops. Going with all the energy to jump that next obstacle. I'm gonna stop sharing for 2 minutes. Is that okay? I see you're really into this drawings, but I do want to see your faces a little bit. So for those of you who were not here at the beginning, there's a visual versus analog here. So if you can pin that screen, you're gonna see my sketchbook, and I'm gonna show you something. Some challenge that people talk about is like, well, yeah, maybe I don't have a tablet yet, or I don't feel comfortable doing, online drawings. That does not have to stop you from using tools like this during a meeting or a team brainstorming session. You can use your cell phone as a second camera. That's what I did today. And then paper and markers. How does it sound? And then, so this next part, I'm gonna do it here with the markers with you, so you feel that, you know, it might be something that you can practice during your next meeting. And what I'm gonna ask you to do is, we thought about a specific icon. Now I want you to think about something that maybe you could represent in visual notes. So either an agenda, as I showed you at the beginning of this session, or maybe, you know, a plan that you're gonna present, or an idea that you're gonna be presenting to a team. Any concept that you have in mind right now that you could give it a try with visual notes. You know, one second. Do you have something in mind? Just give me thumbs up if you're ready to go. Great. So, remember the first exercise we did, where like right after I showed you this like kind of like tic-tac-toe or hashtag shape, you were like, oh, and we were able to write numbers. When we use visual notes, if you use visual metaphors to link whatever you're trying to explain to the, or that you're gonna be talking about, to the concept that you're talking about, it's way more powerful, because people tend to remember that story more than if you just, you know, give them bullet points about what you're talking. So let's say we're gonna be we're gonna do a strategic meeting for our team, and we're gonna be talking about what we have to do to go farther, what we have to let go, who do we want in the team. So I could just, like, you know, have a PowerPoint or a paper in front of us and start taking notes. And then even do color coding, right? Like, what are we gonna do to go farther? What are we doing right? What do we have to let go? Red always seems to be the color to let go. Or I could use a visual metaphor where we're going to be talking about I mean, we can do it as complex as we want or as simple as we want, but what do we have to do to go farther? And write that maybe in the clouds. Where do we want to get? So maybe here we're going to write, where do we want to get? Here, what do we have to do to get there? Because the hot air here is that what is bringing us up. Inside our hot air balloon, we can write who would want to be part of that team or that project. Let's keep using the same color coding in here. What do we have to let go? And we can even have arrows and write what we're letting go. And we can build this as we're talking with our team about it. So this is one of the concrete examples that I was talking about on how we can use them. Any ideas that you have in mind that you would like us to explore? Someone said as one of the things that come up a lot, Zoom meetings, and I think that comes so much that it might be worth it doing a little Zoom meeting here. And depending on how much in detail you want to go, let's do our computer screen. And sometimes I just leave this even started because we don't need the keyboard. We're going to be talking about all the people here in the meeting. We all know what happens in Zoom. We're gonna see a lot of little squares. We've been doing that for the past 2 years. So let's say in this meeting, we have 6 people. And you know, if you're doing visual notes, hopefully they're all drawing with you. But if not, maybe this person is checking their phone. This person here is half asleep. This person here is thinking about the hamburger they're gonna eat tonight. This one here does have a question. You're here, all excited, talking about something. And then there's someone here with their kid right beside them because they're sick at home. It happens a lot. Does it seem like a little bit of a, and I mean, we can be a little bit more positive or more negative about it, but an idea is, let's say, if we would want to use that Zoom meeting to talk about what, you know, people might be doing, maybe we can even put their names here because, you know, we all know that our names go here. So if you're actually thinking about how to divide something, you write their names, and then you can do some icons about what they would be doing for the project. And either, oops, I don't want to, either little arrows about what they would be doing, or even, you know, speech bubbles about what part of the project they're going to be taking on. So hopefully you've been following the visual notes that I've been doing. How are we doing? Are there any questions?
How do you, when you are, let's say you are the visual facilitator of the meeting, how do you get these metaphors quickly? Do you?
So I have like some metaphors that I already feel more comfortable with because, you know, I do a lot of strategic sessions, let's say strategic planning sessions. So, you know, the hot air balloon comes easy to me, or, you know, the climbing a mountain, because that's also could be done as a team. So if we're talking about climbing a mountain, then maybe we can do, you know, a really dangerous one where you have your goal here, and then you have a specific steps that you want to do, and then you can talk about what you need. So like, you know, your water for the hydration, what is that going to represent? Or, you know, like, what are you going to bring in your backpack as a team to climb this mountain? So you can work with the same metaphor. I would encourage you, though, to look for a metaphor that resonates with the type of team that you're working with. So, you know, if you're working with someone who is into fitness or health, maybe climbing the mountain is going to be, you know, resonate with them better than if you talk about a car race. If you're talking with someone who is into biology or stuff like that, maybe the process of a butterfly would be better than talking about a hot air balloon. So depending on the team, it's something that you can look ahead of time and have like maybe 2 or 3 options. And as you start having that conversation with the team, then see which one resonates with them better and you're ready to go. But most likely something that you could plan ahead of time. And you could easily also plan your template. If you don't feel comfortable enough to do it live, then plan already your template and have the blank space that you're going to be filling throughout the session. So for example, if I'm going to be talking, let's see, this is my full page. Can you see it there? Yes. And this is something that we see a lot, so I tend to avoid it, but it works well. If we're going to be talking about a plan, these could be our, like, we can write our goal here, and we can write the steps towards that goal here. So I could have already this template prepared. And if I'm going to talk about, like, let's say maybe some obstacles, you can do a little rock here or a crack in the road. And then leave the spaces where you're going to be writing the content. So the step number 1, step number 2, step number 3. And then if you're doing these like in PowerPoint or on, like online, it's even easier because you can do a little, like you can even put a square here that covers all this space, giving you all that blank space to write on top without being like, you know, kind of overlapping with your drawing. Did I answer your question?
So it's partly familiarizing ourselves. I guess this is partly homework, the 10, 15 minutes that you
Yeah,
said.
exactly. It's partly homework.
Yeah, start
I
thinking
have
that way.
one of the modules of the online course that we have that is called Let Me Draw What I Mean is about visual metaphors. So if you work a lot with groups, that might be something that could be a good tool for you because it gives you like different examples of metaphors that you can use with different teams.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I have the problem to balance out like the notes and the visuals. I don't know how, like which one is more important and how can I get rid of it? Like if I'm doing it live, I'm writing too much or I'm just taking too much, like I'm doing so much doodles. So I forget what they were saying.
Absolutely. So, okay, so if you're doing it live, obviously like sometimes there's going to be a little bit more text than doodles, especially if the session is too short and they're going too fast. What I tend to do is I would write the notes so I don't forget about what they're saying and leave blank spaces to add the icons after. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. Right. Yes.
Okay, my pleasure. So I'm gonna get back to the iPad. And then basically, so we talked about 2 different ways that we can use visual notes. One is with the metaphors to talk about a specific topic. The other one is the agenda. I'm going to show you something that is really simple and I use a lot. Some of you might have seen me using it already. But I really like it because it's a great way to get feedback with visuals. So either in the middle of a workshop or a meeting or at the end, you know, if we're in person, you can do a poster and give people 3 stickers. If you're not in person and you're using a tool like Miro or Mural, then great. But if not, sometimes what I do is I add numbers here. So, you know, these would be, sorry, I forgot to add a layer where I can write. These would be 1 and these would be 10. This would be 1. And this would be 10. So I ask people, and obviously, and here would be 5. So I ask people, you know, after today's workshop, how are you leaving? Or after this morning session, how are you leaving? Are you excited about the new tools you have? Or you're a little bit overwhelmed? And then I would ask you to use the chat. And I'm literally asking you to use the chat. So tell me, are you excited about, you know, the opportunities that are opening up with these tools? Or overwhelmed? Super excited being 10, overwhelmed being 1, in between any number. And you can just use the chat to let me know. Great. Perfect. 8.5. I love how like specific some people can get about this. I'm and I'm not joking. I really love it. Great. So someone said, I'm both super excited and overwhelmed. So I would say that you're in between. You're super excited, but also overwhelmed. So you're in the middle if we kind of balance out. 8.75, you know, the more specific, the better. 9 3/4. Oh my God, you're making me do really complex math for my math skills here. But great, so thank you so much. I'm really excited about this. Now, how much, like, do you think we cover too much content? And I tend to do that sometimes because I know it's just 1 hour, but I want to show you a lot of things. Or we didn't cover enough. So not enough would be 1, too much would be 10, or too much, I mean, you might be happy with that too much. And, you know, more or less would be 5. 5, 6. A comfortable sink spot. I like that. As far as it is comfortable, that's what matters the most. Great. Thank you so much. And now, was I going too slow or too fast? And then this, remember, I'm going to show you just do as a reminder. This is like an S. An S sleeping when we're going to draw this bonhomme. And it comes really handy in a lot of meanings. So were we going way too fast, 10, or too small, 1? Wow, thank you so much. I think 10, 9.5. Yeah, I tend to get really excited and go fast. I hope, Lau, that even though it was fast, you're still excited about the new tools that you're having to try. Great. We're right on our agenda. So as I said, oh yes, Adel, feel free to ask your question. You can just mute yourself.
How do you deal with these negative voices that say you can't draw? I mean, I just managed to draw some things, but I can tell my spirit, like I'm still tense and nervous, as if, oh, I can't, it doesn't look like.
Well, thank you so much, because this is a great segue for the invitation I have for you today. And then, as any new skill, it takes a little bit of practice to feel comfortable and, to get that creative confidence. If you're going to run a marathon, and I've never done it, so I shouldn't be talking about that, but it comes a lot with the visual metaphors. You do not go the first day and try to run the full marathon. You start training little by little until you feel comfortable enough to try to run the full marathon. So maybe you don't feel comfortable to go and do this tomorrow in a meeting, but you might use visual notes to prepare for the meeting, where you're in your comfort, the comfort of your office or your home, without anyone looking and without the pressure of time. And then start practicing until you feel comfortable enough to do it live. Maybe you start using your visual notes that you prepare ahead of time before you actually do it live. And that's perfectly fine. The idea is that you start including it in things that you already do and that you have to do before, instead, saying, oh, like it's something else that I have to start practicing now. Just use visual notes for something you're already doing. And as I said, use them for something that you feel comfortable with. Now, my invitation tonight is a 7-day challenge that would start on April 6th. It's a 7-day to get started with visual notes, even if you're not an artist. And I said that because that's the first thing that people would tell me. What I really want you to feel is that you can do it and that you can get comfortable with it. So I'm sorry, I'm getting the challenge has a cost of $7, is $1 a day, so $7 for 7 days. The idea of the price is just so you feel that you're paid something for it and you have to do it. But the most important part is for you to actually do it. You're gonna get 7 videos, 1 a day, short videos. So all I'm asking you to do is take 15 minutes a day, 5 minutes or 7 minutes to listen to the video, and then 5 to 7 minutes to practice the challenge. Because being humans, and that's the way we are, we're gonna look for tons of excuses not to do it. I have 2 surprises for you. So the first surprise, just for being here, for taking the time for you to start with visual notes. If you write anything and tag @visualversa about tonight's webinar, you have the chance to win one of these 2 kits. It has 2 amazing pens that are rechargeable, and it's a little kit to get started with sketch notes. So just for being here, you can participate. And then the second thing is, if you do register for the 7-day challenge and you do the 7-day activities, and I'm going to give you 10 days because life happens. So if one day something happens and you cannot do it, you can catch up the day after. I don't want to give you 6 months because then we just keep saying, you know, we'll do it tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And the idea is that we do get it done. So after we started April 6th, on April 16th, if you send me a picture of your 7 challenges and a note about what you like the most about the challenge or anything, like your experience about it. It could be also, I found it overwhelming and, you know, scary. That's perfectly fine. You are going to participate to win a one-on-one session. It has a value of $250 US. But if you do your 7-day challenge, you can win this online one-on-one session where we can cover anything you want. So we can just talk about, you know, more specific things about visual notes, or, you know, I have a presentation coming up. I want a specific tools that I can use for my presentation, whatever you want. Any questions about this? And just feel free to unmute yourself and ask.
How do we pay up?
Oh, thanks. I love that question. I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share with you the link to get registered. Give me 1 second.
Alina, is it open to people who weren't at this workshop tonight?
Absolutely. It's a great question. It is open to anyone who was not at the workshop tonight. The workshop was just to get you an idea that you can really do it. If you got to do 3 or 4 drawings, as someone said, just in 1 hour, imagine how much you can do if you start practicing 15 minutes a day. And the idea is, you know, invite friends, invite colleagues, create groups, you know, like, so you can share things. Anything. You can also join our Facebook group. I'll send you the invitation. Everyone who would be registered. So once you register, all you get is a confirmation email. But anyone who registers will get, once you get access to the course, you're going to get access to a group where you can share and ask questions. If you post things online for the challenge and tag me at Visual Versa, I promise to give you feedback or answer any questions that you have in your post. So the idea with this is just so we start practicing and we realize that we're able to do it. And I'm talking too much and I haven't pasted the link that I had open and ready, but you can see how excited I get about this. And I really think the same way that this made a difference in my life and the way I work and study can make a difference in yours. So that's the link. Any questions that you have, you can always send me an email or send me a message on Instagram or LinkedIn at Visual Versa. And let's change the way we work together, the way we brainstorm, the way we meet. We need to start doing things in a different way so everyone feels more included and we can make work more fun. So remember, before I let you go, if that's okay with everyone, I love the reactions. Whoever feels comfortable, can you folks please turn your cameras on 1 second? I'm gonna take a screen picture. And if you don't want to be in the picture, and I see how everyone is fixing their hair. So awesome, fix your hair. 3, 2, 1, show a little bit of excitement. Awesome. So I'm going to be sharing this picture. If you share anything about tonight's, your experience, how it was, and you tag me, you have the chance to win one of these kits to get started with sketch notes. I mean, you don't need these, but these are pretty neat markers. I love them. And they're rechargeable, so they help the environment. I'm mindful of your time. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for taking the time to get started with something so exciting and fun. It's almost 8 p.m. So for now, we're done, but I'm going to stay around. If you have any questions, feel free. Do not hesitate to send me a message or stay here and ask. And thank you so much again. Renee, I love that you joined with someone. You already have an accountability buddy for your challenge. I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but hi. Awesome. So you were both drawing. I love it.
Alina, so Mael wanted me to ask you when you were going to do this for kids. He followed all along. I sent you lots of pictures because I tried to post it on IG, but I'm so like not an IG person. It didn't work.
Well,
But he wants to know when and how he can continue to do this.
I don't have a date yet, but I am planning one with kids, and we're gonna get to do a lot of exciting drawings with letters and numbers. So Maël, je t'ai envoyé un message, OK? Mais on va les faire peut-être les mois prochains.
Ok,
OK?
ok.
Et merci pour être ici. J'ai hâte de voir les photos.
Thanks, Ellie. That was
My
really nice.
pleasure. Thank you. And thank you for joining with Maël. It makes me really happy. Adol, thank you so much for being here. Any other questions? René, Lau, Kendra, do you have any questions or any comments? No? Okay. So, yes.
I just wish I met you earlier in my HSI journey. So,
Oh my God, you're HSI. Nice to have you here. Awesome.
just writing my
HSI that I got into visual notes.
just writing my final report now, and I wish I had known this with my client system. So
I used it with my client, but it's, you know what? It's never too late. You're gonna have tons of clients in the future that you can use them with, and it's a
Right.
great tool to facilitate meetings. So
Yeah.
just reach
I'm
out.
gonna
anytime.
try. Gonna
Happy to
try.
connect.
Thank you very much.
My
Bye.
pleasure. Lau, you had a question?
Alina, I have to present. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Kendra.
Is someone else trying to talk now? You can't see.
I think she's trying to
No.
unmute herself. No, okay. Yes,
Okay.
you have to present.
I have to present something tomorrow that's a little bit complex, and I already started doodling it while you were talking, and yeah, it helped me. I don't know if I'll share the drawing with my team, but it helped me realize something. So that was awesome. Thank you.
Well, super excited to hear that. And as I said, even if we use it at the beginning to help us, organize our ideas, is already a step ahead. So even if you don't feel comfortable enough to share it tomorrow, the fact that it helped you organize, and sometimes, look, I had something for tonight and it's like really like disorganized and like, scribbly. But even if you have that during your meeting, it will help you anchor yourself into like whatever you plan. And it's a great way to do not forget points that you wanted to cover.
Thank you so much. This was amazing.
Share the picture with me though, if you don't mind.
I will.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining again. Take care.